doing? Welcome to a new video. My name is John Skippy Lehmkuhl. Welcome. I have a new library, OMG Drumz Urban, and it comes in 3 flavors because there's 3 different ways to approach these sounds, and I wanted to kind of cover all the bases. We've released 3 libraries. BreakTweaker, it's also available in Kontakt 5, the full version, but you also need to own the Super Macho drums. So these are add-on drum kits for Super Macho drums. And then all the synth and the subs and all these huge sounds you're going to hear in this video are available in the Serum plugin. So you can play them across the keyboard instead of it just being in a groove. Because here, you hear that bass sound. If you go to Serum, and let me go back to that sound. There's 128 patches in here. Lurker synth. And I can play it. I can play in any key. I can play chords. Whatever I want to do. Because it's in a synthesizer now instead of a groove pattern machine. So that's why there's 3 versions. Now the Super Macho Drumz Kontakt 5 version, what's different here, inside of BreakTweaker, where we originally created it, there are 6 lanes, and each lane has 1 of 6 sounds. Okay? And you can do a lot with that. But that's it. Inside of Super Macho Drumz, I have wrapped this into a kit, and it's the same kit for all 45 grooves, so that if you switch kits in the middle of a production, the other stuff that you might have used for the tambourines or for the toms, or triangles and stuff like that, those would stay the same and not change on you. But right here in the middle are those 6 sounds of this library, and then the groove player can play these. If you go over to the, close this, to the groove player, it has a groove player built in where we could say urban grooves. This is 12 a.m. So let's go to, where's 12 a.m. right here. Oh, here we go. And play. Now I didn't play the, and it's falling tempo. Now I have you can add all this additional stuff to it because it's wrapped into a bigger drum kit with all the other additional sounds. That's why they exist inside of Super Macho Drumz. It just gives you, if you have Super Macho Drumz and you have Kontakt 5, it's a way in, and now you have all these additional things to play with. And then the Serum version, as I showed you, you can play across the keyboard. So there's real reasons to have it in 3 different flavors. You can do different things with each one that are important in musical productions, and you can't do one and the other, so there's strengths to each one. BreakTweaker gives you the ability to do all these really... You can't program that unless you have a couple months to sit there and do 256 note, quarter note fill things and stuff. And here it's just as easy as taking like this. Let's say I put a snare right here and go like that, and say we want to repeat 70 times and start really fast and go slow, and just doing it by just clicking one thing and setting up some parameters is what makes BreakTweaker so cool. And it's been out since 2014. Isotope keeps having these sales. They don't have one right now, but just hang out if you don't have BreakTweaker. The January NAMM show of 2014 is when BreakTweaker was introduced. And so the first library, Mega Macho Drumz, came out in April, 4 months later. And this uses the drum sounds you find in Super Macho Drumz, well, Mega Macho Drumz. I've changed the name and added new kits to it. But all these sounds are inside of Super Macho Drumz now. So this is this first library we did for BreakTweaker, and because it was using this huge wealth of drum sounds of Mega Mantra drums, it was really easy to make tons of patterns just using those drum sounds that existed. When we did OMG drums for BreakTweaker, this came out in November of 2016. And this one, I hired 3 other guys and myself to make samples and grooves for all sorts of styles. So we had Airwave doing all the techno trancings. I love this one. And then we had Toby Pittman. He's from the UK. You know, these really cool things like that. Then I did a whole bunch of grooves. Right? And then Nato was number 4. And he just rocked it so great. All these So I got a hold of him at the first of this year and I said, dude, you want to do part of a library? I want to do an urban library of grooves. And so he was on board. So he and I teamed up, it's just the 2 of us, to do this library. And it's 45 grooves for BreakTweaker. And they go all over the place. So I'm going to show those to you in just a second. Let me cover installation really quick, just so you know how to install these. So basically, you have a folder on your computer where you have a BreakTweaker content. If you don't know where your BreakTweaker folder is, inside of BreakTweaker, it will tell you. You click right here on this little settings, option, preferences, little tool wrench thing. And right here is library location. And so you can see what the name of the hard drive, everything is. If you want to move this to your external hard drives, you're welcome to do that. Then just use the set to navigate over to your BreakTweaker library and say open, and it will got it. And say okay. And now it has updated itself to the same place it was before. So for me, it doesn't make sense. But if you move the library somewhere else, delete it from your hard drive on your computer to save memory and get your computer system to be a little snappier, which I do recommend doing, then you can do that. Now, once you've done that, you've got the samples, presets, and generators. Now, the generators and the samples are multiple folders based on categories. That's because you can search by categories inside of BreakTweaker. So you go to the generators folder, select all these, and put these into the generator folder. All of the samples, you need to take these. They're numbered in the 60s. So you put those into the samples folder, and boom, because there was nothing in the 60s. So I use those numbers to keep things organized. And that's one way to keep things. So I have kicks and stuff first, all that kind of stuff. If I had this by name there, you can see. And then finally, you have the presets right here. Just take the presets and drag that into the presets folder. And once you've done that, you can close this all up. Go back to your DAW. You'll need to make BreakTweaker go away and then reload it. So deselect it from the track, reload it, and now when you click, you'll have that library show up in the category tab so you can choose it, hit close, and now you're jamming. So if you've properly placed the samples into the samples folder, you should be good to go. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to bring over Serum. I'm going to have it sit right here in the background. And then I'm going to turn it on this way, but I'm going to take the volume of Serum and turn it down so you don't hear it. But this way I have a keyboard so you can see, so I can explain what's going on while we show this. Because I want to just get the concept across, how we laid out this library. And then after this, I'm going to play the 45 grooves. But I want to just make sure it's really clear to you. Just like that, like that. There's basically 2 components to BreakTweaker. One is the 6 samples down here at the bottom of the keyboard. These, as you can see, each equate to one of the 6 lanes of data that you can drag and click little boxes and you're making a groove. And then right here is your patterns. And as you can see, 1 through 10 are colored blue. 11 through 24 are white, which means they're currently empty. So when you play C above those samples, That's pattern number 1. And as you go up the keyboard, if you're playing a note, it will change to show you that note. So C1, this is the main groove. D is kind of a simplified variation on the groove. Sometimes a little more complex, but they work together. And then C sharp is the groove without pitch. So you can write in any key of whatever you want to work with. These are the rules for every groove in all 3 libraries we've released. So that, and then as you go up the keyboard from D, D sharp, E, and F. Those are your 3 fills. So you can use just pieces of them or play for a whole measure. Okay, and then starting on F sharp, you have no snare. G is no kicks. G sharp is just a high energy. And then A is always the snare. Because sometimes you just need to have the snare by itself. And in some of these, I have, like here, a hi-hat's layered with it. So it sounds more like it's like a sample. Okay. Now, if you want to build your own grooves, play the main groove, for example, right-click and say pattern copy. Go to like an octave above and say paste. Paste. And you'll see 13 lights up. And we can say we don't want these to be long. We want these to be short like this. And we want these to be like that. And I want to have a snare on the downbeat and an upbeat. So I've made my own pattern. Okay, so you can make your own patterns really quickly. If you hit save, put your initials at the end if you want, or you could overwrite. If you say save with the same name, it will say yes to overwriting. So you can quickly add grooves, build your own if you want, beyond using what's here. There's no real-time entry. It's all just by clicking with the mouse where you want things to be and see? Okay, so that's how it works. Let's go through the grooves. So there's 12 a.m. Here's All Stars. And the fills, by the way, D sharp is simpler. E is more complex. And then F is our most complex. Typically, that's the rules we follow. This is what Nato did, so I like that. It's always fun to be surprised by what someone does for their fills. Okay, next up is angle of view. Now this is the C sharp groove, and in this one I let the sub stay. If you don't want the sub, just click here. It's gone. 2 clicks and a created element goes away. Here's another one. There's one where on C sharp, I just wanted it to just be the groove. No sub. Okay. Anthem. Huge. Wow. Okay. Here's Dazed. energy. If I could rap, I would be going right now, man. Okay, get it. I hear Snoop. All right, Golden. This is kind of cool. This is done this way because of the distortion effect on aliasing setting. It's actually a bell sound. So if you wanted to trick this out, you could do something where you set this to an LFO. Have it be in sync and turn off restart. If you click here, you can go through all these patterns. And BreakTweaker is one of the few that has all of these really cool patterns for LFO shapes. I mean, very cool. So that's how it's happening. It's using the aliasing for that one. Hey, wait a minute. All right. Hold up. Hollywood. Okay. In the 6. Oh wait, cancel. Here we go. Island exec. No problem, man. Okay. Now you have panning, and I did some panning. You can make this more exaggerated if you want. Make it more stereo image based if you want. Jungle Walker. And you do hear some lag. I cannot lie. BreakTweaker is a CPU hog. It loves to just suck down every cycle you've got. So be aware of that. I'm running streaming video software and all sorts of other stuff happening. Serum's loaded up at the same time. So there's other things taxing the computer a little bit. I wish it wasn't as CPU heavy as it was. That's another reason why I also made it for Contact 5 and the Super Mato Drumz kit. Here's like, whoa. All right. tempo is down here in the corner, and it's set to be synced to its internal clock. So whatever your tempo is in your sequencer, it's ignoring it until you hit the sync button, and now it listens to it. So if you want this to be working in your sequencer at tempo, make sure that you hit this little sync button, okay? Don't forget that. All right, here's loco. Here's loco. Okay, man up. Okay. All right, so here's never. Like this is a case where you hear a short snare, but there's actually long snare with reverb on it. So that's kind of cool. Okay. Nice. Here's New Funk. Love this one. Great mixing sound. And this is straight from the plugins. There's no additional effects being applied to this channel. It's just straight what it sounds like. Okay, here's Ocean Girl. By the way, this is a recording of Ocean Waves in Maui that I did a couple years ago. And I processed it so that it would be in time with this. If you play it at a different tempo other than 100 beats per minute, those delays are kind of going out of time a little bit, but it's subtle, so you won't even notice it. Okay. OG. Yo, OG. I love that. So here's On the Beat. Okay, here's Out Cold. Fat, man. So fat. Here's Overseas. Like that. It's so fun. Here's Panther. Paranoid. Okay. Pre-Malone. Pull up. And again. Here's record sales. Retro Booth. See the full fill. Smooth Psycho. Very closely related to a song on the radio, but it's a sample of, in the Serum library, that piano is there for you to play it as across the whole keyboard. So it's kind of cool. And that sub, this, that was also made inside of Serum and is available as a patch. So snappy. Here's Sometimes I'm Sad. Okay, here's Squad. Squad up. And again, those cool noise samples that make the grooves fill the holes. And the hi-hat, changing the pitch because you could easily select these guys, and each one of these, there's that pitch. This goes up to 2, 3, 5. So we could change these to be totally different if we want to make it really radical. Let's have this one. So it's really easy to make radical, cool grooves. And one of the cool tricks, I like to give tips in my videos. Preview. This will let you hear that specific little tiny event to see if it's what you want for this to be. So if I could go like this, maybe I want that. So I heard that little event. Now I can play the groove. And hear it. But I can select it and just hit preview to hear just that piece. That's a cool tip. So next up, Stars. Again, I don't know why it kills my computer. It should not, for 6 samples, kill your computer, but it does. Here's Stranger Things. Here's one that's more complex. You would think it would kill your computer too, and it doesn't. So I think there's filtering on the other one. Streetcar. Here's a Submarine. Sunshine. The weekday. Ugh. We dread the weekday with the weekend. All right, Vibes. Again, C sharp, just a groove. Off to go. Who? I love this one. Bills. Okay, Wonky. Cool. And yeah, boy. I think this is it. Yep. So 45 grooves. Everyone has 10 patterns, 156 samples. That's OMG Urban for BreakTweaker. And there's a version also, as I said, for Supermato drums and Contact 5. And for Serum, you can get them as a bundle on the website, plugandgroove.com. Thank you, as always, for your support. I appreciate you guys helping keep me doing this full time. It's awesome. It's wonderful to do what I love and turn around and it's something you guys get to play with and use in your productions. So win-win. We like win-wins. Okay. Let's keep this in the front because Serum is another video. So thank you again. Peace to you all. See you later. Bye.